I think things like the Vladimir were a bit of a problem here. The free pick of the Yorick into a lane where he likes it was also a little bit of a worry. However, it was kept down throughout most of that game, and Smeb, it was only until the very end that he was able to grab a couple of gigantic bounties and become unstoppable.
So far, the bans, Lucian and Jace being targeted by KT, LeBlanc and Yasuo on the side of Sandbox. We haven't seen Karma, which I think is really interesting, and what might be affecting that is that the live servers is actually where most people scrim, as well as solo queue on Korea. So how much practice maybe if some of these teams actually had with Karma? I know that we've seen it throughout the week, but we're all the way here now on Sunday in Korea, and
I feel like every day, though, there was less and less Frostmancy being employed. I felt like it was running rampant day one. Day two, there was a bit of it as well. And then since then, we've seen it here and there, and mostly on the bottom side of the map with Ezreal's picking up the Spell Thieves. The Sandbox thinking about going over to the Zoe themselves, and I think this is a fantastic choice. Deny it from BDD and give Dove the power pick and avoid first picking Aatrox again.
Zoe is super priority, and with LeBlanc being banned away, there's basically very to little.
Well, LeBlanc's banned as well as the Lissandra, which is the secondary pickup into the Zoe.
Normally actually Zoe is used as an answer to Lissandra, and with Yasuo being banned as well, you have very limited options remaining for what can actually be problematic for her. I know that overseas some people are looking at Kassadin as one of the answers to her, but Zoe is arguably much more worthwhile in a wider spectrum of team compositions than Kassadin is. And so, with that being said, I mean, Orianna is a champion that can contend with her and can go toe-to-toe. We're not seeing it really in the LCK, which I think is really surprising because it definitely pops up a lot in solo queue and in scrims.
And we also have a lot of these players in the LCK. Maybe not necessarily BDD and Dove, but a lot of our players are historically phenomenal Orianna players. So I agree with you. Is On Fleet going to go back to the Camille yet again? Tom Kench locked in. I was expecting, you know, tier list-wise, we'd just lock in the bottom lane, grab an Ezreal, and you're setting yourself up for a pretty fantastic mid-game composition on a couple of items with the Zoe, Ezreal, and the Tom Kench for the safety, but no, that's not what we're doing here. That's not this game. As Tom Kench as well as the Camille are going to be locked in. So KT,
what?
Silas.
What are you doing? Just what are you're looking at that and you're okay. Thank you.
They're joking around with us. They're joking around, but
I was about to get thrown out of the stadium. I was going to throw a chair.
Well, I mean, this is the problem, right? You hover things like that and it's crazy, and you're like, you don't immediately think that it's crazy,
right?
Because certain things have been picked, and you know, Silas has been priority picked and banned and things like that this week. Feels like insanity, but it's the truth. And so Aurelia going to be banned here. Odd one.
Aurelia now being taken away. I guess she does have a way to escape Yorick's cage, but again, extremely unfamiliar with the matchup. This champion just started popping up very recently in the meta in top lane, and so you have to ask yourself, how practiced are certain people on the matchup in top? And so if you're banning away the Aurelia, I guess KT probably knows a little bit more about it than most people.
This is Aurelia with the slight change as well. I mean, the stack's giving you attack speed and then getting on hit once you hit a further stack cap, so a little bit more bruisery flavored is the Aurelia, but gets a bit of a wave clear back. Is Sivir going to be the ban away from Ghost? He has to pick a different champion this time around, as Kalista was the ban, and I actually quite like the ban on Sandbox's side because you've got the Thresh Kalista lane available as well as Nocturne being on your side of the map, which feels fantastic. Okay, Draven banned against Zenith. I mean, if you read the nameplate wrong, if it was Gango, I'd be banning the Draven, but Ghost may have actually liked to have that champion himself. So it's an odd choice. See where that means he wants to go, because it opens the doors for a lot of hyper carries to be blind picked here by Sandbox.
It looks like he's really excited. It's like, you know what? Actually, I can just play this champ. Oh.
All right. So BDD back on his Aurelion Soul yet again. 100% win rate. And that is BDD that was able to grab that 100% win rate for the Dragon in the mid lane.
It looks like Sandbox discussing what do we have that's good against this. And to be honest, they already have a lineup that's really good. And oh, man. Ghost is like, wait a minute. This champ wasn't banned?
Wow, I thought it was globally banned.
Oh.
Weird, guys.
Oh, you mean he's not disabled?
Ha!
Oh.
Well, there we go. The Ezreal finally going to be discovered here. And you know, if you click the little, like, the bot lane icon, You can actually... Oh, no. Really? Come on, guys. Come on, Summit. 7 seconds to go.
He's probably going to do... Yeah, Aatrox.
I might lose. I might lose.
You
LS
might lose
again.
me.
I might lose him again.
I'm going to walk off the desk.
Please, please, please stay. Please stay.
All right, well, KT
we got a
now,
last pick. They might redeem it. I don't know.
They need an ADC.
Oh, they don't necessarily.
Wow. Looks like they're hovering Vladimir. Oh, man. Saving the best for last.
Oh, no. This would be the least fun. Okay, and Victor's locked in.
No. Okay. Well, Victor, one of the champions that can try to bully Ezreal early on. Victor Thresh, definitely an interesting lane dynamic. Aurelion Sol, like I said before, he doesn't have the easiest of times, and he's also a sitting duck against the Camille in mid lane. He's going to have to be very careful. You can see he has the cleanse available. And so Camille and Zoe are going to have a very easy time trying to bat him around in mid if he ever overextends. But as long as BDD plays the laning phase well enough, he should be able to get roam priority with the Nocturne around level 6 and potentially cause havoc across the map.
Yeah, speaking of across the map, this mid-jungle duo is going to move very quickly to a certain place if they want to. That E being available, being able to traverse terrain so easily on the Aurelion Sol is certainly going to help out KT of getting that bottom lane party started and leave the Yorick alone on the top side with his Maiden to keep things okay, but these are going to be your matchups.
And Aatrox, Camille, Zoe, Ezreal, and Thomas Kench. Obviously, this team composition wants to do very similar to game number 1. Camille wants to accelerate, but they have the fallback with the Zoe Ezreal and the massive mid-game poke.
Yeah.
Being able to be offered by the team composition backed up by Thomas Kench, able to get any of them out of danger. And so it's a very scary combo to go up against in this current meta. On the flip side, though, for KT, you got Yorick, Nocturne, Aurelion Sol, Victor, and Thresh. This team comp wants to explode around level 6 using the roaming ability of Aurelion paired with the Nocturne to just snowball and accelerate the game. And if you really get the Victor going and put Ezreal in the grave, it becomes very difficult for the enemy team to stabilize as they end up being basically reduced to a poke comp, and they don't fare very well against siege compositions.
Yeah, well, let's see how it goes as we hit game 3. KT Faithful, you hear a bit of extra kerfuffle, but fans definitely ready to see KT resurge here in the LCK, and getting a win onto Sandbox here in the first round robin would certainly be a great way to solidify that one. BDD, Celestial expansion to be available here in the mid lane most likely at level 1. But so far, not any funny business. No Brahms on this map, no Blitzcranks, definitely. So, just pretty cool, calm, and collected at this stage. Having a look at the Keystones, nothing to worry about either. From anyone?
A little surprising, actually, that neither Ezreal or Victor going for the Spell Thief Kleptomancy, both of the champions that can take it.
Yeah. We've seen Ezreal's buy it in all sorts of different times as well, so we might see Ghost try and weather some storm in the laning phase at the beginning and then build it a little bit late. Is okay. Umti just going to get his party crashed a little bit, but speaking of crashing, waves are going to be meeting one another as well. Does mean that Zenit does get some free damage onto Joker here as they move on out, as Ghost is going to be the one getting some money for that one, so it's probably not too worried.
We saw a very similar opening to this earlier on. Fleek looking like he maybe wants to go over the wall, but instead he's going to go over a ward. He gets sweeped. Now he wants to just consume this Scuttle Crab really quickly.
Yeah, we'll be able to do that. He's going for a full clear minus the Gromp on his bottom side before moving over to his red buff. Should be on Fleek grabbing a couple of these Scuttles. That's what we saw in the first match when he was playing his Camille. It does help him with the fact that the old hookshot has been changed. The Rift Scuttler does not actually fight back.
And Dove now getting much needed intel on Umti's current path progression as Umti proceeds right into his red buff, but after this, going to be a little unfortunate, as he's going to either have to make the choice, do I go to Golems or do I go to Wraiths? Instead, he says neither. I'm just going to end up recalling.
Well, goes home now. See whether afterwards he's going to be able to get himself back on track. Because like you're saying, setting up the old rubber bands for the Nocturne feels like a pretty good thing to do. Because the guy likes farming. On Fleek, not so much. But he is able to grab a couple of these Rift Scuttles. And being able to get that sort of advantage is certainly worthwhile. On Fleek shows himself on a ward though. So KT understanding that they can be relatively safe. As Smeb probably going to get back pinged just a little bit. Potential movement for On Fleek to head towards topside. But instead he's mid. You can see B2D very intelligently playing towards the strong side of the map. Zenit actually taking a lot of damage down here as Joker has the Devour available, but Zenit just waits for some extra buttons. Ghost, one more auto will do it. Oh, the flash right into the wall somehow. He's going to be able to grab the first blood. Celestial expansion, that's going to lock it down as now a teleport out and Ghost will go home.
That's a really interesting teleport spot rather than just go to his own bottom turret so that he can collect the wave.
It was the panic teleport where you just like spam the teleport button on the mini-map, I guess. I don't know.
Is that the bug?
No, I don't know.
What was it in NALCS?
Oh, I'm not entirely sure. I do think that Smeb has to flash, and he is going to do so.
There's something that occurs, I guess, but I think it's with turrets, not with wards. I have no idea. Maybe someone could tweet at us and explain maybe what the interaction really is, but seems very bizarre that Ghost doesn't just elect to go to the turret there.
Well, not going to get Infernal Chain back as Snowflower, I believe, is there unbeknownst to Sandbox, but wave pushing towards Summit, no reason for him to overextend as On Fleek will go and grab his Gromp, most likely hookshotting his way over. So Smeb and Omti actually trying to get a reset here very hard. Trying to shove this wave all the way into the turret so that Smeb can get a decent back. Especially with his flash being on cooldown, he wants to get a full reset on this wave.
And BDD looking for some more information for his team, and he's doing a fantastic job so far, and except for when he's going to walk into this bubble.
Yeah, bubble is going to land. Does manage to get the stun out as Dove actually wants this one. Cleanse going to be used on the Ignite, which is a great news story. The flash out there from BDD and no more summoner spells available for the Dragon.
Really unfortunate there for him, getting completely zoned out, and I think that might end up even being able to be converted into a plate here for Dove, as Thomas and Ezreal doing their best to assert a lot of pressure. Wow, okay. We're getting a replay from a couple of minutes ago now, seeing this trade unfold yet again. Devour being used there onto Snowflower, and you can see Ghost.
What's this flash from Ghost?
Yeah.
I don't know what that one was.
Not entirely sure. What is Thresh's secondary rune set? Because I guess if he has Triumph, I think that he's maybe afraid that Snowflower would get the HP back if Victor would be able to kill Joker in time, and then Ezreal can't get the trade.
Aha.
That's the only thing I can think of, but I'm not sure what Thresh's secondary rune is. If he's using the precision tree or not.
Oh, he should be using Inspiration. He is. So he's got...
He is. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
So, yeah,
caster, by the way. So.
Yeah. So, look, it's perplexing. And also, you know, the whole flash on the spot thing is... that's normally a style points play rather than a...
Yeah, it's really weird, actually, now. Yeah. When I was watching it, I was like, oh, he must have Triumph or something, and it doesn't even cross my mind to look at the bottom because these items aren't being used at that point, and so completely blanks. Nonetheless, bottom lane. Oh, Spelty. Oh, we're seeing it.
Yeah, so Frostfang was picked up by Ghost on that the first back that he managed to put down, so gives him a little bit of extra money. And we'll go down there, stop farming. It'll be Time Kench that does it, as that's the flash in from On Fleek. But BDD not going to get stymied by that at all. Voice of Light coming out as the Celestial expansion. One more hit will do it, and that's it. 1 versus 2, and BDD says thank you very much.
And this Dragon is working so well right now for KT. And meanwhile, up in top lane...
Yeah, it does have World Ender available. Smeb will be pulled back in, and I thought Summit could have actually stayed there, but respects the damage that the Maiden can put down very, very much.
Wow.
There's just fights everywhere.
Yeah. And meanwhile, fighting with the Dragon, so even he's getting in on the action.
Sandbox is fighting with the Dragon in the mid lane as well. They didn't have a great time, so he's going to try his hand at it. He's also not having a very good time. He wants to eat honey fruit instead. As Ocean Drake hits like a truck, man. Yeah. Ocean Drake's the worst. Doesn't give you a great buff and also will murder you.
Yeah.
If you try and take it down, it's just not a good time.
Very unfortunate dragon to try to take. You'd actually think that the more luxurious or the more beneficial ones would be more difficult, but look at this. You can see On Fleek trying to come in there, whiffs on the stun, ends up getting stunned himself, and the Starforger lets him know that he is interested in Iron Ladies as he then begins to chase down Dove.
We're going back to the Iron Maiden joke.
No.
Oh man, what's better, an Iron Lady or an Iron Maiden? I don't know, because we've got that versus the other here in this game. Snowflower's going to lasso the Ocean Drake. That is just going to mean that On Fleek gets the hell out of there. Ghost throwing some Mystic Shots around, but he stopped farming, so he wants to find where the champions are in order to get the work done.
The game definitely has a lot more action inside of it than the previous game. It's very refreshing to see.
Certainly is, but it is going to mean that the gold is very, very even between both of these teams. No real advantages going towards either side, but BDD throwing down both of his summoner spells and then getting a 2 versus 1 kill has really skewed things.
Yeah.
When it comes to the mid lane, and he's the one that has both of these kills that have been picked up so far. Of course, being able to get that roam down makes sense with his Comet. And Joker falling there. So BDD very, very strong right now and will be a large factor in these team fights coming up.
And what's really keeping Sandbox so close in the gold department, despite those 2 kills and the assists, is the Kleptomancy on the Ezreal. The slight CS lead in mid and top lane right now.
Yep, going to be able to have that Frostfang stacking up that extra money as well. So despite the fact that he isn't farming, it isn't too much of a big deal. 32 CS is going to be the lead here for Zenit. Look at about the 50 point for when that quest is going to complete on the Ezreal in order to understand whether or not this Frostmancy has been dealt with well enough. As Dove comes on over, spots out where BDD is, who dodges the beach ball, and things are okay. Devour on the bottom side, but there's Chaos Storm onto Ghost, who gets himself out of the way. True Shot Barrage not going to find anyone as Joker holding onto his grey health this time. And, that is blue buff going over to BDD.
I don't know if Joker didn't have Devour available, but...
He just used it.
Oh, yeah. But the follow-up sequence was a little bit strange there. Nonetheless, though, KT definitely winning out on the trade. However, Joker trying to get the freeze on.
Oh no, Ghost got the minion, so doesn't even want to hit Snowflower with any of his abilities anymore. Not going to be finishing that quest just yet. See, we'll keep you updated as to when that one is going to complete. BDD here in the mid lane dealing with it quite nicely as Dove. Oh man, that last auto, not quite enough. So, Paddlestar denied. Clearing out that mini wave. Smep going to bring the maiden with him as he goes back home again, not wanting to let Summit kill that one for free. So both of them are going to head back home.
Looks like BDD actually wants to just pick up the Scuttle Crab right now, and now we enter into the part of the game where the champions do start dealing a lot of damage to minions, and it's very difficult to set plays up without the jungler present or a roam from one of the teammates. This is where the game really begins to slow down, and with an Ocean Drake being the first one on the map, not really forcing either team to care about it all that much, and without an early 10.5 minute Herald, game is definitely going to slow down temporarily.
Feels good, though, if you're a KT fan, because you've got Umpty. He's safely made it to level 7. No harm, no foul. He's now just going to rocket ahead of On Fleek when it comes to the jungle camps taken, and On Fleek is just going to get paranoid and will be the first casualty when it comes to that. No need for the Aurelian Soul. Thresh and Nocturne just enough, as now Zenit being closed in on. Joker and Ghost trying to get down here. True Shot Barrage flashed out of. And KT trying to come on down. Joker actually flashes forward as, okay, the W going to be activated. Ghost gets out again. Voice of Light flash. Thereby Ghost on the back end as Joker has all of his grey health, but he's terrified and is going to get taken out. He uses the heal just for the fun. He's got a spell book, so that should be okay. Sandbox will lose their support, but at least Ghost trades one back for Zenit.
Yeah, and in the end, this is going to be a pretty big win for Sandbox as they're getting Ezreal further and further ahead. And that's what really matters. And now you can see that he's trying to farm some of the minions as no one's around, better than just letting them go to waste.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't have that support item completed yet on Ezreal. And taking another quick look here, On Fleek, felt like he should have seen the ward put into the brush, but it doesn't really matter as he's just getting locked up by the death sentence into the flay, comboed with the paranoia.
And he missed his hook shot as well, which is very unfortunate. So close to hitting onto that wall as, look at this, Joker with the Lick Tongue flash, and that means Zenit is dead, but into 3 people.
After this,
Tom Kench is not going to be in a great spot.
Can't really do anything, but you do create an XP difference between Ezreal and Victor, which is important. And
picture in picture, Smeb is going to be taking a heck of a lot of damage. Hextech Ultimatum means that the Yorick can't move anywhere, and he is definitely going to go down. Okay, OnFleek does have the hook shot, wants to get out of the way of Umpty, who has Paranoia, but doesn't want to dive in and trade 1-for-1.
13.5 minutes, and just under a 1K gold lead for Sandbox. Ezreal, I imagine, would complete his item here soon, as most champions are about to be completing their first core items. Aurelion Sol already have that Rod of Ages, going to begin stacking up. And take another quick look. You can see OnFleek maybe wanted to start the Herald or not, as he just comes up into top lane against Smeb. Flashing, locking him up.
And that was just wait for the flash, then throw down the Hextech Ultimatum, and he just has nowhere that he can go. Understandable stuff here, but unfortunately for Smeb, he's pushed too far up. Thought that it was going to be Sandbox taking down Shelly. They pull off that. They'll happily get rid of the Gravedigger first. Zenit needs to be careful. These Qs are starting to hurt from Ghost. He also gets money for it, and it's going to clear out the minion wave. I actually like how KT are treating this, because they're making sure that they're not giving Ghost someone to hit with his spells. They're just clearing out the wave and leaving, and that is an option that you have as the Victor. Because your Death Ray does a pretty good job clearing out minions, as it turns out.
This game does continue to go on, despite the Aurelion Sol having those 3 kills. He is behind in the CS department. He has the bounty on him, so definitely a high priority target. But it doesn't quite feel like KT is getting the type of advantages that one might have expected off the Aurelion getting ahead, and the Nocturne as well.
Yeah, well, normally you think it's because now, like, the Aurelion Sol can rotate around the map very effectively, but we haven't necessarily seen BDD be all that effective. Yes, that fight on the bottom side was cleaned up on, but Sandbox had already got the kill, so it was actually coming into a 1-for-1 at that stage. Not exactly high value for the Aurelion Sol. Not going to create a man advantage with that one, as Shelly continues to take pokes, mostly from Sandbox's side. OnFleek going to go back home, see what he can actually put together for himself as he gets back into the base. I don't know what that dagger's doing. Dagger is a strange choice.
That is interesting.
Does this mean that we've got Trinity Force Camille coming in for OnFleek? Tune in next week to find out.
And there's the Lantern just to bring Zenit closer into the lane. That's a nice recall animation from Thresh.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Summit clearing out a control ward. Very exciting early to mid transition. I really love the meta right now. I love these 20, 22-minute laning phases where everyone just pushes waves back and forth. Back and forth.
Hey, no, we got something to talk about. Ghost completed the quest, so he can get lots of money now. Probably wanting to grab both of his first core items and head back to base, and then head to the mid lane, and then we'll continue having this really intensely exciting mid-game meta that you were alluding to. Finally, that Ocean Drake does go down. That's going to be in favor of KT. First dragon of the game, going over to them. And now Shelly might also be taken here as Control Ward going to be cleared. And there's Camille on the bottom side of the map as Summit. Oh, Umbral Dash. Feels a bit bad. It's got a cooldown now. It doesn't stack up anymore.
Nothing's allowed to happen, Atlas.
I know. No fun allowed. Fun policed here. Snowflower. If only Joker was Alistair, maybe the lasso would be a little bit easier to hit. Instead, he's a catfish. That's just not how you catch catfish. Lasso, bad news.
Well, at this point, BDD and Snowflower hugging around mid, and you can see that Umpty just waiting on the horizon, perhaps wanting to make a play onto Dove. As we pan back to Summit and the Gentleman's Agreement up in top lane.
And so minion waves are going to be crashing forward. Redemption uses wave clear, which is probably the most interesting thing that's happened thus far. Zenit could be in trouble. Is Gravity Field not going to lock down Joker? He wants to be able to get the Devour. That means that a flash comes out. Top side of the map, though, KT are going to move over to the Rift Herald and should be able to grab this one. Not going to be able to get any turret plates for it because those are already gone. True Shot Barrage, just going to do some damage to Humpty, but otherwise it's all right. The Maiden helping, sucking the life force of Shelly. And Humpty cleans that one up. So now a little bit more of an extra tool for sieging things out on the side of KT with that cool purple buff. Nice.
Absolutely fantastic.
The best.
I am so excited right now.
Riveted. So I mean, what are BBQ's matches this week? How we looking?
We play against VSG. We are currently bottom of the standing.
VSG. So
and CK after having autofill in our first series and then having to forfeit series 2. So not not the best of standings right now. But,
about the same as B2D's ability to get that cannon creep. That's about where you're
kind of looking like Jin Air, I mean.
Oh god. I mean, you did recently lose to MVP.
Well,
and ESC Ever.
That is
the old Ever 8 winners.
Yeah.
Oh, unfortunate. So, but that's all right. That's all right. Things against VSG. I mean, that'll hopefully be a learning experience that you guys can take moving forward. Because VSG look very strong at the moment in Challenger as Snowflower throws out the lasso, but is going to get trouble bubbled. BDD there in time to save. Does have himself the Ryle's Crystal Scepter alongside his Rod of Ages that's stacked up to 6 times now. And as we move into the later stages of the game, are we looking at any of these teams in particular in order to win a team fight outright? I mean, I look at Sandbox and I say they've got an AD carry. That seems good for the late game.
I mean, all right, Atlas, I'm going to be really blunt with you. We're in game number 3 of a very unfortunate series. And it's really rough. We're seeing this passive gameplay where no one wants to make any play because of how much of a chain reaction effect it can just have on a game state. And so despite having these champions that in theory want to go off like the Nocturne or like the Camille, instead we're having this pacifist agreement where every team in the league just seemingly is content with just not making mistakes and just endlessly wave clearing, pushing lanes back and forth. And unless your name's Griffin, apparently this is the thing to do. And it's very fun and exciting.
Well, I mean, I don't think anyone's alluded to the fact that it is fun or exciting, but it is what's happening this game, so I can't really say too much, as Ghost almost looks towards a solo kill under Zenit. That's what happens, guys, if you hit all your buttons on Ezreal. And he's in a pretty good spot at the moment, wants to complete that Manamune, but he's got a Trinity Force, so Ghost going for a little bit of an earlier spike as he misses all of those buttons. That's going to mean that Zenit survives.
Well, the one thing here is that if Ezreal and Zoe weren't present in the game, we would have a Victor pressing E from minute 20 to 30 on whatever wave would be attempting to be pushed by Sandbox. But fortunately, Ezreal and Zoe are about to come online soon. And once they do, you're going to see a real problem for the KT team composition where if Nocturne tries to go in but Aurelion Soul has been zoned too far back by the Zoe and Ezreal, then there's a mismatch in their ability to synchronize their engage, and it's just going to go haphazardly. So Sandbox, as we do approach this 22-minute mark, they're in a fantastic position, and I mean, I'm not entirely sure how KT is actually supposed to fight their way out of it against the Ezreal Zoe. Well,
we'll see whether Sandbox can actually navigate this, because we've seen some very strange and wacky things today, and even in this series. So, I'm actually amazed that we're even at a Game 3, as LS looks incredulously at his monitor in front of him, wondering how best to make sense of the situation. How do you feel about me narrating your life?
Narrating my life?
Yeah. Because, I mean, that was fun.
TOS.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Wait, is that against the terms of service? You can't have, like, life narration? Because apparently you can't have jokers on this map either. He's going to get pulled into a gravity field. May need to flash to get out, and does do so over towards this Baron Pit, but that is a flash on cooldown on a Tahm Kench. Actually a very high-value flash in comparison to a lot of others on support players. As Snowflower comes on over, has himself a control ward, will clear out some vision.
I'm losing my mind.
With all of the action that's happening?
I'm trying to keep it together. I can't do this!
Atlas looks over at LS, whose brain is melting slowly into the video game. He wonders when it is going to stop. Is he going to find a moment where things make sense? in Runeterra? Or will it just be the terror that it could potentially be understood as? Unfleek diving on over to kill some red dots.
There we go. Pressy. Nice. That's what I came for.
All right. Well, I mean, Sandbox at least do distract the Victor. Make sure that he's in the mid lane, meaning that Ghost is going to be able to come up top lane and take out the outer turret at the same time. Sandbox taking the Cloud Drake. Not a Clown Drake. This is a Cloud Drake. Because we need to come up with some things that are meaningful in this game. Can't be talking about open Drakes and Clown Drakes when theoretically this could be the only good thing that's happening in the passage of play for the next 10 minutes of the game.
Of an open, I'll tell you that much, Atlas. This is a sleeper.
Yeah, closed mid. This is actually, type in all chat, closed mid. And Zenit just parks himself there and says, yes sir, it's closed. Because for some reason Zenit is Russian. I don't know why.
All right,
I'm losing my mind as well, my friend, okay? We're at the final day of this, the new meta, we're to come to expect. And it's weird.
Well, this is
I mean, these Mystic shots are starting to really hurt, actually. Ghost is stacking up his second tier. He has a mere amount to transform, as well as the Sorcerer's Shoes and his Trinity Force. So once he does have that Seraph's Embrace online, good lord, is this Ezreal going to be hurting? And look, I feel like recency bias has led me to believe that Ezreal doesn't do that much damage because aiming was doing basically nothing on the Ezreal, but if we look back at times gone by, Kingzone versus SKT showed that Ezreal is the most busted hero in the entire game by a country mile.
Yeah, Ezreal is absolutely phenomenal, and that's why we were so surprised to see him not make it earlier on in the series and then be picked as late as he did. And I mean, you saw Ghost's face when he locked it in. It looked like he was, what?
Well, Zenit just got chunked out, so he threw another button at him. And he hit.
He did hit. Yeah. He did hit. And now what we're going to do is we're going to prioritize this objective. Unfleek coming in.
Scuttler.
Slow down there. He's coming in. He's getting the Scuttle Crab. Fantastic.
All right. All right. That was the objective, right?
That was a major neutral.
Yeah. I mean, look at our Observer thinking that he was going to go for a gank on this Smith.
Uh-oh.
Oh, gets himself a stun. There's the Hextech ultimatum as Dark Procession throws Unfleek back. He does go golden just in time, and Ghost grabs that kill. Thank you very much, Triumph, and that is Unfleek surviving for the moment. Summit does have the World Ender, and they're looking to transition into the mid lane. Ghost, they're actually able to walk up very, very far as Dove. He's landed it, but hasn't actually popped it there with the Paddle Star for enough damage. Sandbox, I mean, something just happened, LS.
Well, this is actually where the game starts to get exciting. Zoe and Ezreal are tired of waiting.
Yeah, and another Trouble Bubble, True Shot Barrage. There's Ghost. And that's what we wanted to see out of this. Ezreal comes in, they take down the outer turret, and now it could all just fall apart from here. Snowflower, Trouble Bubble, not going to land. Umpty very close to just blast coning his way in there, and this is what happens. It's so explosive. We may actually have this inhibitor turret going down.
This is what I was talking about in the previous series, and also during the break, is that teams do nothing for 25 minutes, one mistake, and this is the byproduct of it. And you can just see, this is where Ezreal and Zoe come online, and that's why I kept saying, KT, what are you waiting for? What are you doing with your early into mid-transition leads? You don't accomplish anything, and you're just going to bend over and die, I guess. I mean, I'm not quite sure what they are hoping to accomplish, but Sandbox, they're really handing it to NA right now. As you can see, Smeb takes that blasting plant over the wall.
And that was the first step into the death chamber for 2 turrets and Smeb.
Well,
wait, 3 turrets. I tell a lie. As we're now staring down the barrel of about an 8,000 gold lead.
Yeah,
so things just going to hell in a handbag, man. It's just look at the poke.
Right. I mean, Zoe and Ezreal, there's no answer for this KT comp, and the reason for that is because Victor can't be standing in a position relative to Aurelion Sol and Nocturne, able to assist them with an engage. Well, they look really
excited about something happening in this game, and I can't blame him. As on fleek, he's looking for more. We can go back to that coach's booth because I think they're about to cheer yet again. 3 people hit with a true shot barrage. Snowflower going to be the first target, but goes golden. Smeb find his way into the back line as there's the world ender. Umpty diving on forward, and they do manage to pick up the Aatrox. On fleek gets out with a hook shot, but Joker isn't going to be so lucky as KT have found their fight back. We've got Dove, we've got Ghost. We have a lot of damage remaining here as Ghost realizes that he can't hit his W onto the Maiden. She's not a champion.
Oh, but she can go to sleep.
She can.
Well, that's interesting.
She's not an
Is she a ghost?
I mean, she looks like one in this skin.
Yeah, does she go to sleep?
I don't know. Does Ghost go to sleep? We could ask him after the game.
Ghost might go to sleep.
Yeah, I think he might go to sleep. He's not going to go to sleep this game, though.
G-Host doesn't go to sleep, though.
G-Host. Ah, right.
Ghost goes to sleep, not G-Host.
Well, this is the replay.
Yeah, this is the engage. Camille going into this really narrow corridor, and Zoe and Ezreal weren't here at the very start of this. You can see Zoe just ends up getting there, but Summit was already gone, and Joker was on his last leg. And so, in this scenario, you know, I talked just a second ago, what is KT actually supposed to do? Well, they're supposed to bait Sandbox into an arbitrary fight in the middle of top lane brush without two of the primary carries present.
Did you see what just happened, LS?
Yeah, 300
That's
IQ.
exactly what they did.
That's what they needed to do,
Oh
Atlas.
my goodness.
Absolutely fantastic.
Coach, by the way.
Great.
Now we're learning. I didn't even know that you had to arbitrarily stand in a Tribush top lane in order to guarantee a win condition. See, this is why I love listening to your cast.
This is why
I'm just
hired.
guaranteed to learn.
Yeah.
That's what it is, and that's what we come for. Okay, we've got the Archangel staff completed by Ghost, looking to stack that one up. Very close to his Gunblade as well. At least I hope it's going to be a Gunblade, as he's been getting a lot of money. Level 15 on the Ezreal compared to the level 14 of the Victor, and he honestly could just take over this game at a moment's notice. 4-0-0. But we just need to have Sandbox not in their front line into KT and all of the AoE that they have available to them. And then we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, another trouble bubble lands here from Dove.
Okay.
Heads on forward. See ya, Snowflower. Hook shotted and destroyed. Is Zenit now gonna get slowed down. Summit over the wall gets the flash. True shot barrage. Gazes by and looks pretty cool, but doesn't actually do too much as there's the voice of light from BDD. Goes golden, has to flash. Smeb also taking a lot of damage, and on fleek is going to go down now as Dove lands another one. Umpty, no infernal chains onto him as Joker eats the grey health, but may actually still go down. Smeb grabs that kill as BDD is taken out by Ghost. It was minions in the end, I believe, or an Ignite that secured it. But Sandbox getting rid of the dragon could be a huge deal now as Ghost now moves towards the bottom side. They're not going to get anything else. That was a trade, actually. It was relatively even in the end between both teams.
And that was a really close call by Sandbox. They are choosing to fight these... They're choosing to take these fights so poorly. It started off so well. They land the bubble onto Snowflower. They nip that right in the bud. And then after this, they take this and handshake this fight inside of this narrow corridor without Ezreal present. And this is exactly the dream scenario for Aurelion Sol and Victor. Look at the Chaos Storm. Look at Zoe. She can't do what she's designed to do. You're giving KT everything that they want. And right here, Summit ends up losing his Guardian Angel. And it's Ghost with the red buff that manages to weave in a Mystic shot right there to take down BDD in the end. But this is Sandbox giving KT their dream scenarios 2 times in a row, not utilizing their team composition for how it's supposed to be played. And when you do it like that, you're going to make it look a lot weaker than it actually is.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the example here that LS is talking about is you kill Snowflower and then you get vision around Baron, you start to bait that one through, and then KT has to take a fight where you can get another pick after you've got another couple of buttons back off cooldown. You'll have a trouble bubble yet again, you'll have a hook shot yet again, and KT will just keep filtering forward, and exactly what's happening right here. I mean, these trouble bubbles can come out. Now KT, they do have Smev moving on up, but Joker is going to be on the defense now as Umpty with the spell shield. Sandbox don't want to let this one happen for free. Summit looking for a flank on the bottom side. He'll jump up through the Dragon Pit, and head back towards bottom side of the map.
And all that Sandbox have to do right here is play front to back, which some people, when you see that with an Aatrox and a Camille, you might think, well, that's not normally what those champions are supposed to do or what they want to do. Well, that doesn't matter, because What KT doesn't want you to do is play front to back, and here we go.
T is going to use the paranoia here as Ghost can't actually arcane shift as aggressively, can't see that far. As KT do get their Nocturne out of there. True Shot Barrage, oh, so close to taking down Umpty. I thought now that the Gunblade was completed that was a dead Nocturne, but not this time. He is going to go back, but now an opportunity for Sandbox to jump on the Baron, and look at how much damage this takes. Ghost does so much with the 5 items that he's put together, and Joker is now trying to stop this from happening. Baron is going to go down, but are they going to lose their Tahm Kench? The answer is most likely no, as Summit can possibly dash over the wall. Oh my god, Smeb just dies incidentally as Snowflower over the wall has to flash to get himself back. World Ender there is going to keep Summit alive as the Zoe picks up a double. BDD goes golden, but he's just going to watch as his life flickers by before him, and Umpty, True Shot Barrage not going to find him, but now what he has to do is contend with minion waves. But joke's on you, mate. You don't even have an inhibitor turret. And he's got 3 people surrounding him. Sandbox, they finally find the team fight they're looking for. They find a Baron. They find Zenit on the top side. And it feels like 3v1 everywhere to close this one out for Sandbox.
That is an awesome death animation. But getting back to the game, this game is all but over, as this is looking to be the final Doom push. Smeb's coming up in 13, Snowflower's here. That's not going to matter. They're going to be able to raise these 2 Nexus turrets, and Sandbox...
Well, I mean, the minions took a little while to conga line their way forward, as Snowflower is going to at least have Smeb to back him up. On Fleek doesn't have much of a health bar, as... Alright, that was an odd visual bug, as Smeb throws down his W. But you've got a lot of siege minions. You've got True Shot Barrage not hitting onto Smeb. And you've got a
thick
game
skin
continuing.
On Tahm Kench. You just walk into the turret with thick skin and that amount of HP, and then your minions arrive, you just raise the turrets. Hello?
I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Yeah, I want you to get Sandbox on the phone
on
for me
speed
right now. Yeah, I want him.
I put my phone away because I'm commentating.
Wire me into the coach box right now. I gotta find out what's going on here.
Yeah. I think that's probably a smart idea. As the Baron was taken, and this was part of the good things that Sandbox were doing. In fact, everything was just not quite finishing the game. Is a bit of nitpicking here because they have set themselves up to take this one relatively easily. Now against KT, Dove landing some really clutch late game bubbles. Often feels like it's about the Zoe in these late game scenarios, but also Ghost being able to hit a lot of his buttons well on the Ezreal this time. There is a very stark difference between an Ezreal that has, you know, deft hands on the champion in comparison to an Ezreal like we saw in our previous series, aiming, not really being able to make too much happen on that pickup. Our solo queue games certainly illustrate that a lot, as a lot of people watch games like this and they're like, oh, Ezreal's busted, I better play him. And then you proceed to do about no damage. Ghost is demonstrating that now after 6 items, he's very, very comfortable.
And you can see that KT are going to struggle extremely hard to survive against this Baron push.
Bubble. Zenit has to put himself in front of
BDD.
Oh man, activating the Trouble Bubble amplification with a True Shot Barrage means that BDD has to go back home. That is all the inhibitors going to go down. The Maiden, she's also going to fall, incidentally. One of the Nexus turrets already taken down, only one of them standing between Sandbox and victory here in this game number 3. Paranoia for Umpty to throw out to try and go for this last-ditch effort. Hook is going to land, but that's onto a dude you have to kill 3 times. And that is going to spell the end. On Fleek grabs the first kill in this one as Zenit. Hextech Ultimatum is down. That's a double kill as he takes this into his own hands. And Sandbox now want to pad some stats. Umpty's going to go down low. That's the Ezreal falling. As BDD grabs it, but it doesn't matter. Nexus is going to fall. And Sandbox grabs 2 blue side victories here to close out this week.
And that's probably going to be actually another MVP for Ghost in game number 3.
Yeah, unless Dove is going to get it with a lot of nice clutch bubbles towards the end of the game. Well, I wouldn't mind it going to Ghost.
Yeah, he did manage to pick off that Aurelion Soul in that one fight. I mean, he had a lot of clutch plays on the Ezreal. He sniped Nocturne away with that ultimate that allowed them to actually capture the Baron, because Nocturne didn't have Paranoia available, was forced to recall. And so there was a lot going for Sandbox that game, but it got really scary. There were 2 moments where they clearly weren't playing their team comp the way that it was designed to, and it almost looked like they were going to throw it right back into KT's hands. But KT, the early Aurelion Soul advantages, the Nocturne that had advantages, they did nothing with it. And it's such a sad trend that continues to exist in LCK, where it doesn't seem to matter with some teams when they get advantages. They have no idea what to do with it, and this laning phase lasts for 20-25 minutes because champions just don't do anything unless you coordinate it well enough.
Yeah. And the thing that I find really interesting is the fact that the Aatrox and the Camille both picked in both of the victories for Sandbox, and they are still able to make it work. And that actually worries me. Normally, you'd look at that and you'd be like, I'm impressed. They're using these champions that aren't at their full power level, and they're still coming out on top. But I actually feel like if they are picking them and still going to try and make them work, then how are they supposed to adapt to how this meta is moving forward? And if they're against a stronger team, that's going to show up. Yeah. You know, you can't just pick Camille, because honestly, on Fleek, he had some great moments, but he was exploding in fights. And we saw that top lane skirmish. As soon as one of these pieces does fall apart, it is far more difficult to make things happen on these particular picks than it used to be. So Sandbox are able to pick up the 2-1 victory over KT, but it's not inspiring me as much as, say, Griffin's win did earlier on.
And as these series continuously keep happening for Sandbox, it does look like they're stagnating the longer that the split does go on, which actually isn't the same for Griffin. And so, in a weird way, the gap between Griffin and the top, 2 and 3 continues to widen, interestingly enough, as
I feel like the gap
progresses.
between Griffin and everyone. It's like Griffin and then 9 teams milling about doing stuff underneath them.
Slow down there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like it's Griffin and then Sandbox, and then everybody else is playing in the Sandbox.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how it works, and is also
trying to get out of the
Sandbox at the moment. And yeah, I don't think anyone can actually get out of the Sandbox that isn't Griffin. Thankfully, Griffins have wings, I guess.
Griffins have wings, right.
You'd expect Jinna to be in a better state.
The telecoms,
but,
their phones are lost. You ever lost your phone at the beach?
Yeah, that's true. It gets sandy.
It gets sandy.
A disaster. Yeah.
Absolutely tragic.
Yeah, and if you wear it into the beach, then you're definitely screwed. So
planes don't want to land on a beach. That's probably Jinna's problem.
Ooh,
right?
There we go. Right? Okay.
I don't know what Gen G is, but if you go to a beach when Gen Z kids are there, you're going to have a bad time too.
Hey,
so
you might get teased. Also a bad time.
We are learning.
We can go through the rest of the teams here. I mean, SKT and KT, both in the same boat, both phones. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Afrika, you don't have great internet at the beach?
There's a joke I want to make. I'm not totally sure if I can. We're not going to go. Yeah, you don't have great internet. We're going to go with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Australian. You don't have great internet anywhere where I'm from, so that's an easy one for me. Yeah, no, I think this has run its course. This has certainly run its course.
I don't know where we go with that.
All right, yeah.
That sounds like a Mario Kart map or something.
And the beach maps were annoying?
Yes.
There you go. There you go. I don't know. I just feel like there is a gap. And you know how we talk about the gap is widening, the gap is smaller and all that sort of stuff? I feel like that's not relevant to regions anymore. It's Griffin and the rest. Now, as we're going to have a look at some highlights from this one, this was the 1-for-1 trade that worked out very interestingly. And Ghost, watch the flash. We needed slow-mo. Oh, we didn't get slow-mo.
That was really interesting, but he closes the gap. Nonetheless, Joker goes down in the back, and this was the Ezreal thing that I was so questionable about, because Aurelion Sol's out of mana, Victor's not going to do anything to you. You're not in danger if you just teleport to your turret, you get the minions and whatnot. So, anyways, right here, this is the turnaround where BDD, he lets them know.
Yeah.
BDD was on
He 1v2s them. He
was on point.
He was on fleek. He was on point. And he had both of his summoner spells on cooldown, and he still 1v2.
This is where Zoe had enough.
Yeah.
Zoe and Ezreal. There you go.
Just booped. And this is the passage of play where things just went completely wrong. And this is where we need to sort of defend teams playing in a meta like this, because once a moment like this happens, it's so hard to get back. So playing very reservedly around the possibility of something like this happens is certainly understandable. However, a bit unfortunate that KT walked into it.
Fights like this, I mean, are also a testament to why playing your team comp the way that it's designed to be played is also important. I mean, Sandbox arguably almost threw their massive advantages by giving KT... Ask yourself, if you're KT, what do you want right here? You're like, well, can Sandbox please clump into us in a narrow corridor so that our Victor and Aurelion Sol can get maximum value and not be poked down? Sandbox is like, absolutely.
Yes, you can! So you came to the right place.
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Oh, jeez.
And the weird thing is that they were, in the end, actually even trades. As Ezreal being able to weave in Mystic shots. Ghost Ezreal working out very, very nicely as this was the last attempt from KT. And, you know, they landed hooks, they turned things dark. Omti didn't jump into the backline and kill himself, but it was just a lot of wallets being used as weapons and OnFleek taking things into his own hands.
And it's not like KT didn't have an opportunity to win this game. Yes, they're at a disadvantage the longer that the game goes against the Ezreal and the Zoe. But they had everything that they needed early game to get the ball rolling, but they couldn't actually accrue advantages off any of their kills, it seemed, and they certainly didn't seem to know what to do with the advantages that they were finding for themselves. And it continues to be a worrying trend for KT and KT fans as the season continues to progress.
And I mean, what is going to be the change made for KT? Because they do have other players that they can be subbing in. You know, Gango might be an option here for KT, despite Zenit being good on the Vladimir. He looked a little bit forgettable on other picks here so far. And you put him on awesome dudes, and yes, he does look like he's getting things done a little bit more. But as like a straight up 80 carry battle on the bottom side of the map, it was looking like a bit of a disaster in game number 1 from Zenit. I mean, wasn't great news as Ghost is going to head up to 700 points, 100 behind Chovy, and I believe is the only man on 700 points right now. And yes, he's going to be able to eclipse Clid, who at the start of the day was 600 with Chovy, and is now not actually in first place anymore at all. It's going to be third place for Clid, sitting on 600. So pretty impressive from Sandbox and Griffin. But Ghost really has been coming into his own on this squad.
And, well, taking some more look at the Ghost highlights probably before we move into the MVP interview with him.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a solo interview.
Yeah, double solo interviews with Chovy and with Ghost. So
we've had a lot of solo interviews lately.
Yeah, we have a lot. So we are going to be able to get over to G-Sun, and he's going to be able to have a chat to our friend Ghost. So let's throw it over to translate.
Thank you very much, guys. This will be today's last interview and also another solo interview with Ghost from Sandbox Gaming. It was a long day. Weren't you tired during the games? Yeah, kind of. We thought we were a little bit worried, but we were all working together to get this win. Ghost, did you have the feeling that you're going to be the MVP today again? Well, even before the game 3 ended, I knew that I was the MVP. It was a long 3 games. You have a lot of questions, especially on your draft. Yeah, you guys actually didn't go with Ezreal in both game 1 and 2, but why did you go with Ezreal in game 3? Well, Ezreal is really a good champion, but it's not always a good champion. You need the right situation to use it. And that's why I played Ezreal in game 3. Did you have the expectation that the opponent will not be using Ezreal? Yeah, we had the information that KT Rolster also doesn't prefer Ezreal. Well, Camille popped up in game 3 because a lot of people were actually curious about jungler. Camille is no longer very viable in the current meta. Yeah, it's not the perfect situation to use Camille right now because of the patch, but we have trust in OnFleek. Maybe Sandbox can be the only team that can use Camille as a jungle. So let's go through this highlight clip. What was going on here? Well, Summit actually told us Kaisa was a bit too much at the front line, so let's see him and let's do this, and we were able to kind of win the team fight. But game 2, it was very challenging. What was the biggest reason? We didn't actually, we had too much of a miscommunications. That was the main reason why we lost game 2.
얘기
So
많이
back in
해서
game 3,
잘해보자
we had a
이렇게
lot of
피드백했어요.
communications with each other, and we had a lot of feedback before going into game 3.
감독님도 이제 서로 말 좀 더 잘
And
들어주고
head coach,
할
he
말
also
있으면
told
더
us to
하고
like have more
그래서
communication,
3세트
listen to each
이겨보자.
other, and let's
그렇게
do this for
네,
game
또
3.
샌드박스는 조커 선수를 필두로 많이 모이잖아요. 3세트는 그 운영이 빛났습니다.
Well, there was
3세트
amazing
초반에 보스트
macro
선수가
around
슬래시를
Joker
잡는
today.
판단을 하고 테를 탑으로 타는 장면이
Especially you
있었어요.
guys caught out
화면 보면서 설명 좀
Snowflower and then
부탁드릴게요.
TP the top lane.
이때 일단 아우 소리 내려오는 거 알고
We
있었는데
knew BDD was
쓰레쉬가 너무
roaming
세게
down,
들어와서 쓰레쉬는 잡을
but
만하겠다 생각했는데
Snowflower was a little bit
그래서
aggressive over
여기서
there, so we were able to
고민이
pick him.
또 잡고
that-
죽어야
pick
되나
him up.
말아야 되나 이랬는데
And I was
3캔차 오래 버티길래
thinking of just
설마하겠는데 하고
dying,
텔 타고
but
도망갔어요.
I saw Joker surviving a lot, so I just used my
이미
TP to run away.
네.
상황이었습니다. 야,
네.
정말 재미와 또 감동 모두 잡은 장면이었는데요. 자, 샌드박스가 이길 때
Sandbox.
아까 보셨는지 모르겠지만 코치박스에서
When you guys
정말
were
두손
winning,
들고
The coaches had a great
스태프가
reaction,
잡혔어요.
being
네.
super happy for you guys.
스태프들과 또 감독님께 한마디
Is there any message
부탁드릴게요.
for your coaching staffs?
오늘 2세트 정말
Well,
힘들게
today's
해드려서
game two,
죄송하고요.
we had hard time
앞으로는
for you
좀
guys
더
as well, so I'm
편하게
really
보실 수
sorry.
있도록 열심히
I want to make
해보겠습니다.
you guys
네,
feel more
알겠습니다.
comfortable watching
메란
us
방송은
playing.
계속 찾아가실 예정이에요?
Are you gonna
민규 형
keep
방송은
watching
언제든지 찾아가요.
MedLife streaming? Of
네,
course.
또 이렇게 경기 날뿐만
Always,
아니라
I'm gonna
메란
watch the stream.
방송에서도 뵐 수 있었으면 좋겠습니다. 자, 샌드박스 이제 남은 경기 아프리카의
Sandbox,
경기입니다.
your final
어떻게
opponent for the first round will be Africa 3.
저희가 1라운드에 이제 아프리카만 이기게 되면은
If we
그리핀을
take them
제외한
down,
모든 팀들 이기게 되는데
We
꼭 그 목표
will
이루도록
be having a
하겠습니다.
great result of
아,
winning
정말
every other
멋지게
team except
단호하게
Griffin, so I'm
말씀해
gonna
주셨습니다.
accomplish that for sure.
응원하겠습니다. 고스트 선수 오늘 인터뷰 감사드립니다.
Thank you very much for today's interview, and this
네,
will be
인터뷰 여기서
the
마칠게요.
end of today's
김계석
LCK,
나와주세요.
and I'm gonna pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ji-sun. And that is going to be the end of what has been a longer day than expected. I mean,
Yes.
after game one between Sandbox and KT,
Hour and a
I
half
thought
break.
we'd have another 2-0. And then, yes, we did have that hour and a half break as Griffin was able to dispatch with a Freak of Freaks extraordinarily quickly. But that concludes our weird and wonderful 9.3 pre-hotfix week. And Sandbox are going to retain their second place and actually widen the gap between them and SKT by a considerable margin.
Well, Sandbox, they still just have that one loss to Griffin, so I'm sure that they feel very comfortable with that as we are moving forward in the split. And honestly, Sandbox and SK Telecom, they do still both look very different compared to all of the other teams below them.
Yeah, I mean,
after
Hummer
that-
Life have actually looked
Yeah.
better and better, I guess. I mean, their win over Kingzone was actually very impressive. But as you can see, we are going to be moving into the second round halfway through next week. So first round robin will conclude with Hummer Life versus Dumb1 Gaming. Actually a very exciting matchup as the rest of our teams are going to conclude their matches. Gen G the last on Griffin's hit list before they have made it through for a 9-0 start, beating everybody else in the league if they are able to take down Gen G. A Gen G that actually looked better against SKT despite falling down in that series in the end.
And Kingzone, I mean, that's a team that I really want to keep watching as the split progresses because they do look like they have potential to keep getting better and better and actually begin to challenge the second and third place current standings.
Yeah, I agree. I actually feel like Sandbox needs to be a little bit wary, and that's going to be their first match back as well. It's going to be Kingzone taking on Sandbox Gaming, but still a whole lot more action coming at you next week. We're going to be starting on Wednesday. There is a telecom war on that day, but it's not necessarily the telecom war that we'd be expecting. We'll see whether KT can turn it all around then, but for now,